Can you stay for just one night?
Lonely CEO had everything but spent Christmas alone, until she, a homeless woman, asked. New York City glittered under a blanket of cold and celebration. Snow fell in soft, slow motion as carolers sang on street corners and families gathered in warm, glowing windows. Lights twinkled. Laughter echoed. Inside every restaurant in Brownstone, it was Christmas. Except for Cole Danner. The high-rise party behind him was still in full swing, his company's annual Christmas gala, filled with champagne, speeches, and meaningless congratulations. He had left early, nodding politely to board members and brushing off invitations to after-parties. It was always the same, hands reaching for pieces of him, never the person. He stepped out into the street, breath curling in the frozen air, the collar of his coat turned up. People passed in pairs, arms linked. Every window he passed framed someone holding someone else. Children danced around trees. Someone lit a fire in a living room hearth. Cole walked aimlessly, hands tucked in his pockets, drawn toward the older part of the city where Christmas lights dimmed and streets grew quieter. Despite all he had built, his name on office towers, headlines, Forbes lists, tonight felt heavier than usual. He had everything, yet nothing familiar to come home to. His feet stopped in front of an old stone church, long boarded up and weathered by time. The nativity scene on the steps was faded, the glass stained and cracked. But something moved near the shadows of the entrance. A girl. No, a young woman. Huddled in a too-thin coat, her knees drawn to her chest, a worn green blanket barely covering her legs. Her blonde hair curled in loose waves around her face, but it was tangled and stiff from the cold. Her cheeks were red, not from warmth, but windburn. She did not beg. She did not hold a sign. She simply sat there, eyes unfocused, until she noticed him. Their gazes met. Cole didn't know why he stopped. Maybe it was something in her eyes. Not desperation, not fear, just a quiet kind of loneliness that mirrored his own. She shifted slightly, blinking as if unsure if he was real. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she asked, "Can you stay? For just one night?" The world seemed to pause. Cole looked at her, startled, not by the words, but the way they landed. She was not asking for shelter, not for money or food. It was something else. A request not for safety, but presence. She looked down quickly, as if realizing how strange it must have sounded. "I didn't mean," she started, voice cracking. "I'm sorry, that sounded weird. I just meant, it's Christmas, and I didn't want to be completely alone." Her words drifted off, lost in the hush of snowfall. Cole stood frozen, unsure how to respond. His instinct was to move on, to nod politely and keep walking. But something in him, a crack he hadn't acknowledged in years, held him there. He stepped forward slowly. "I don't usually stay," he said quietly, unsure why he was even responding. "But maybe tonight is different." She didn't smile, not quite, but her shoulders relaxed, just a little. "I'm Lila," she said. "Cole," he replied. She nodded, hugging the blanket tighter. "Nice coat," she added softly, trying for humor, even as her lips trembled. He glanced down at the tailored wool, then back at her. "Yours looks insufficient." That made her laugh, a quiet, surprised sound that faded quickly. Cole looked up at the empty, frozen church, then back at her. "I know a diner," he said. "Warm, open late." She hesitated. "I'll pay," he added. Her eyes searched his face for signs of judgment, pity, anything she would refuse, but she found none. She nodded slowly, and together they walked down the snowy street, two strangers stepping into the warmth, away from the kind of cold that no amount of money or blankets could ever really fix. The snow swirled gently around them, muffling the sound of the world. Lila's question, "Can you stay for just one night?" still hung in the cold air between them, fragile and real. He could have said no, should have, maybe, but instead he gave the smallest nod. "Come on," he said, his voice low but steady. "Let's get warm." They walked in silence for a few blocks, his long strides slowing slightly to match hers. She kept her hands tucked beneath the thin blanket wrapped around her shoulders, head down but not slouched. Even in worn canvas shoes soaked in snow, she carried herself with quiet dignity. A glowing sign blinked ahead, open 24 hours. Inside, the diner was half empty, filled with late-night loners and truckers sipping weak coffee. Cole opened the door. Lila paused, eyes flicking up to him with a flicker of hesitation, then stepped inside. The warmth hit her instantly, and she let out a soft, involuntary sigh. They slid into a booth near the back. A tired-looking waitress handed them menus. "I'll just have a small coffee," Lila said. "And the grilled cheese," Cole added, without looking up. Lila turned to him. "I didn't ask for—" "You need something hot," he said. "Let me." She looked like she might argue, but then nodded. As they waited, Cole studied her. Her blonde hair curled unevenly, strands sticking to her cheeks. Her hands were red from the cold, nails chipped and stained faintly with charcoal. She caught him looking. "This isn't the worst Christmas I've had," she said with a faint smile. "Not the best either, but not the worst." "You're not with family." She shook her head. "Mom passed a few years ago. Dad left long before that. After I lost my job and my place, everything just sort of slid." The food arrived. She ate slowly, savoring every bite. "I studied art," she said. "Illustration. I wanted to make children's books. I even ran a reading hour at the library, used to draw what the kids imagined. Dragons in sneakers, giraffes that ran coffee shops." He smiled. "That sounds incredible." "It was." She looked down. "Until someone said I was loitering. Made people uncomfortable, so I stopped going." Cole didn't interrupt. He just listened. No pity in his eyes, only quiet attention. When she finished, she reached for her coat. "I should go." Cole shook his head slightly. "Let's stop by somewhere first. It's too cold for canvas shoes." She blinked. "What?" "There's a shop nearby. I've got a voucher I've been meaning to use. You don't have to." "I know," he said, "but I want to." The store was small, cluttered. While Lila hovered near the door, Cole spoke briefly with the cashier. Then he returned with a pair of soft brown boots, lined with faux shearling, and handed them to her. Her fingers brushed the inside as she slipped them on. When she stood, her face changed. "I forgot what warm feels like," she whispered. He smiled. "Looks better than frostbite." She laughed, soft, surprised. Toward the back, she noticed a simple knit dress, cream-colored, long-sleeved. She held it up, hesitated. "Mind if I try this on?" "Go ahead." She disappeared into the fitting room. When she stepped out, something shifted. The dress was plain, but it suited her. Her hair had dried slightly, curling at the ends, her cheeks still pink from the cold. She looked light, present. Cole stared a beat too long. "You look different," he said. Then quickly, "I mean, it suits you." She tilted her head, amused. "Guess I'm still in here somewhere." And then, her first real smile of the night. Not polite, not wary, open. Something stirred in Cole's chest. Not just attraction, something quieter. Recognition. As if for the first time, she wasn't just a stranger in need, but someone he truly saw. Someone real. Cole unlocked the door to his penthouse with a quiet click. The lights flickered on automatically, bathing the sleek, modern space in a cold white glow. Lila stepped inside hesitantly, clutching the paper bag with her new boots and the folded cream dress. Her eyes widened slightly at the sheer scale of the place, floor-to-ceiling windows that framed the glittering skyline of Manhattan. Furniture so pristine it looked untouched, marble counters that gleamed like ice. It was beautiful, impeccable, and yet something about it felt lonely. "You live here alone?" she asked softly. Cole nodded. "Just me." She looked around again, then said, more to herself, "It's like a showroom, like no one ever really lives here." He did not respond, just slipped off his coat and set it neatly over the back of a chair. "I don't have much in the fridge," he said, "but there's soup, canned, chicken noodle." She smiled gently. "Sounds like a feast." They sat on the floor, backs resting against the cool side of the couch. The soup steamed in mismatched mugs. Cole had no real bowls. Lila sipped slowly, grateful for the warmth, the quiet. Snow drifted gently outside the glass, a soft white hush settling over the city. Cole watched her for a moment. Her fingers curled around the mug like it was a treasure. Her eyes wandered the room, curious but not judgmental, just taking it in. "Thank you," she said after a while. "Not just for the soup, for tonight." He looked away, nodding slightly. "You don't need to thank me." Lila rose and walked toward the window, drawing her fingertip across the glass. The steam from the soup had fogged the surface just enough for her to sketch. She drew a little snowman, then a cat, then a star. Cole joined her, hands tucked in his pockets. "You draw like it's breathing," he murmured. She shrugged. "It keeps me human." They stood in silence, the snow falling heavier now, thick flakes clinging to the glass like fragile lace. Cole spoke, his voice quieter than before. "When I was 8, I locked myself in the hallway closet on Christmas Eve." Lila turned her head slightly, not interrupting. "My mom had died that year. My dad threw himself into work. There were gifts under the tree, catered dinner, music playing from speakers." He paused. But no one said her name. It was like she never existed. She said nothing, just listened. "I sat in the closet and cried until I fell asleep," he said. "Woke up on Christmas morning still there. No one noticed." Lila moved closer, her fingers still resting lightly on the fogged glass. "My mom used to say," she said softly, "even when you have nothing, you can still give kindness." Cole's expression shifted. The corners of his mouth tightened just slightly, the muscles in his jaw flexing beneath the surface. "I think she would have liked you," he said. Lila smiled faintly. "I hope so." Then, slowly, gently, she reached out and laid her hand over his, not grasping, not asking. "Just there. You don't need to be strong all the time, Cole," she whispered. His breath caught. He did not speak, but he did not pull away. And in that moment, under the pale blue glow of the city beyond the windows, something shifted in him. The armor he had worn for so many years, made of success, control, solitude, bent, just slightly. He looked at her, truly looked at her. The golden curls, the tired eyes, the small hand resting on his. She was not polished, not perfect, but real. And suddenly, the room felt less empty. The night stretched quietly between them, full of unspoken things. And for the first time in years, Cole did not feel completely alone. The snow had not stopped. By morning, the city was wrapped in thick white silence. Outside Cole's penthouse, the streets were barely visible beneath the unbroken blanket. The world looked peaceful, still. Lila awoke before sunrise. She moved quietly through the vast apartment, unsure if she belonged in this quiet, expensive dream. The kitchen was tidy, cold, untouched. She washed the mugs from the night before, wiped the counters, then found the coffee machine by instinct. It took 3 tries to figure it out. Everything in Cole's world was sleek, complex, but eventually the scent of dark roast filled the room. She scribbled a note on the back of an envelope near the fruit bowl. "Thank you for the night. I'll leave after breakfast. L." She placed it beside the mug she poured for him. When Cole walked in minutes later, barefoot in sweats, hair tousled, he read the note silently, then looked up at her. "Stay," he said simply. "Just until the snow stops." Lila opened her mouth to protest, glanced at the window, then nodded. The hours that followed felt fragile, new. They cooked together, scrambled eggs, toast, soup. Cole admitted he had not used his kitchen in over a year. Lila showed him how to soften garlic in butter, how to chop vegetables. He watched her with quiet attention, amused and impressed. Later, they sat on the couch, watching a Christmas charity segment. Lila hugged a blanket around her legs, smiling when a child on screen received a donated bike. "You smile with your whole face," Cole said. She laughed. "Is that a good thing?" He nodded. "Yeah, it is." That afternoon, Lila walked the apartment slowly, taking in its cold beauty. She paused by the tall Christmas tree in the corner, elegant but untouched. The lights were off, the ornaments sparse. It looked like a display, not a memory. "Can I fix your tree?" she asked. Cole, seated nearby with his laptop, looked up. "Fix it? Make it feel like someone lives here," he considered. Then closed the laptop. "Go for it." She plugged in the lights, fluffed the branches, moved ornaments. Then she added her own touches, paper snowflakes, dried flowers from her sketchbook, a pine cone from her coat pocket. The apartment changed. Not dramatically, but gently, like someone had finally exhaled. That evening, with the sky turning soft pink beyond the windows, Lila walked to the far wall in the living room and traced a space with her fingers. "Would it be crazy if I painted here?" Cole blinked. "The wall?" "Just something small. I can cover it if you hate it." He paused, then nodded. "Go ahead." She unpacked a pouch of old pencils and paints from her bag. Hours passed as she sketched, then painted two small figures under falling snow, simple but tender, surrounded by soft golden light. When she stepped back, Cole stood behind her, silent. "Who are they?" he asked. She wiped her hands. "Just people who found each other on a winter night." He nodded, didn't speak, but his expression said everything. Later, while she curled on the couch with a book from his shelf, Cole crossed the room and lifted the piano lid. The keys had not been touched in years. He sat slowly, fingers hovering. Then, quietly, the first notes of Silent Night filled the room, tentative, trembling. Lila set the book aside, walked over, sat beside him. As he played, she sang. Softly. Not perfect, but warm. When the final note faded, the silence that followed felt sacred. Lila looked down, then up at him. "I used to think I didn't deserve a home," she whispered. "But right now, this feels close." Cole turned to her, not with pity, but with something deeper, honest. And for a long moment, he just looked at her like she was the most real thing he had ever seen. Cole had grown used to her presence. In the quiet mornings, when she hummed in the kitchen, in the way she organized books by color without comment, in the sketches she tucked into drawers, an elephant in the cutlery tray, a moon with eyes on a sticky note. Lila was still guarded, but softer. She laughed more now. Sometimes she talked in her sleep. Sometimes she sang while cooking. But Cole sensed the invisible line she never crossed, as if she was only ever halfway in. He wanted to help her step all the way back into the world. Quietly, he began laying the groundwork. One night, while she slept curled on the couch, sketchbook on her chest, Cole checked the building's security feeds, a habit from years of overseeing too much. Not suspicion, just instinct. One clip made him pause. It was 5:12 a.m. Snow fell hard outside. Lila, wearing her too thin coat, slipped out of the lobby and walked several blocks to a wall near the train station. In the silence of dawn, she knelt in the snow, gloveless, and drew. With chalk, with pastels, with bare fingers red from cold. She drew a fox curled beside a lantern, a child blowing stars, a skyline of windows glowing with light. She left no signature, just a box with a note. If it made you feel something, take it, or leave $1. It's okay either way. Cole stared. This woman, unrecognized, uncelebrated, was out here offering beauty to strangers like it was breath. He could not stay still. He called Daniel Fry, director of the City Arts Renewal Fund, sent him photos of her chalk murals and the paintings she'd done in the penthouse. "She doesn't need a handout," he wrote, "just a chance." A week later, the foundation extended an offer, a recovery grant, supplies, a studio space, and a mural commission. It was perfect. He imagined telling her, seeing her light up, but he did not. Instead, a foundation representative came one morning, holding an envelope tied in red string. "Miss Monroe?" she asked. Lila looked up, sketchbook in hand. "We're thrilled to offer you this opportunity. You were nominated under a private sponsorship from the Whitmore Foundation." Cole stepped out as the woman left. Lila stood frozen, staring at the letter. She turned. "Whitmore," she said, "that's your company." He hesitated. "Lila, you went through my life," she said, voice shaking. "Without asking? I wanted to help." "That's what they always say," she snapped, "before they take over." She looked at the letter like it stung. "You think this is kindness? It's control. You decided what I needed. You deserve this." "No," she said, "I deserve the choice." Her voice broke. "Do you know what it feels like to be someone's project? To be helped so the other person can feel noble? I don't need saving, Cole. I just wanted to be enough." He said nothing. Because she was right. Every act, every silent move, had come from the same part of him that managed outcomes. In business, in life, now in love. She continued, softer but no less sharp. "You said I could stay one night," she whispered, "but it always felt like I never left your shadow." She slipped off the cream sweater, the one from the first night, and folded it gently onto the couch. "I'd rather be cold," she said, "than feel owned." Then she walked out. Cole stood alone at the window as snow fell over the city. The lights outside shimmered, distant. Everything inside remained, the sketches, the scent of soup, the hush, but something vital had gone. The breath of her, the color of her, the sound of her humming. He sank into a chair, still holding the letter from the foundation. "I only wanted to make things right," he murmured, but the words landed on empty air. And for the first time, Cole understood. Love is not a rescue. It is a release. She was gone. No note, no message, no trace. Cole searched for Lila the way someone searches for something they never meant to lose, panicked, scattered, but still pretending they were in control. He tried the few names she had mentioned in passing. A librarian, a soup kitchen volunteer, a boy she used to draw with in Central Park. No one had seen her. He called every women's shelter within 10 miles. Nothing. Then he asked his assistant to access street camera footage from the night she left. But halfway through typing the request, he paused. He saw what he was doing. Again. Controlling, searching, monitoring, trying to solve her like a system glitch. He leaned back in his chair, eyes burning. She had asked for space, and now she had it. Days passed. Snow thickened on the sidewalks. The penthouse felt more silent than ever. Cole left the TV on just to fill the air, but it was not the same. He wandered the city in the late hours, his coat open to the wind, like it might punish him enough to numb something. He passed the old church where he had first seen her. Empty now, just pigeons and crumbling brick. He sat for an hour outside the 24-hour diner they had gone to that first night. The same waitress came and went, no sign of Lila. Then, 3 days after she vanished, Cole found it. It was near the train station, on a forgotten side street between a laundromat and an abandoned kiosk. A chalk drawing, fresh, bright against the dirty wall. A little girl holding a lantern in the snow, eyes closed, peaceful. And underneath, written in small, delicate handwriting, "Even in the dark, I remember the light." His breath caught. It was her. It had to be. He crouched beside it, reached out, but stopped himself from touching the art. It was not his to take, not his to claim. All he could do was feel it. She was still here, somewhere, and she still had that light. He had just tried to own it. That night, he made a decision he had avoided for years. He called his father, the man who had taught him to lead, to calculate, to dominate. The man who had told him, after his mother's funeral, grief is a distraction. Cole drove 2 hours to the nursing home just outside the city, where his father now lived in a quiet, clean room with a view of the woods. The older man looked surprised to see him. "Cole," he said simply, "it has been a while." They spoke slowly, carefully, old pain hanging in the spaces between each word. Cole did not know what he was hoping for, maybe just to feel like a son again. But halfway through their quiet conversation, his father said something unexpected. "Your mother," he said, "once told me that it takes more strength to stay than to leave." Cole stared at him. "She said it after our worst fight," his father continued. "I was ready to walk out, but she stayed, with all her softness, with all her heart." He looked at Cole. "You have her eyes, you know, but you've been living like me." Cole's throat tightened. Something cracked open in his chest, like a wall finally giving way after years of pressure. He dropped his head into his hands. And for the first time in almost 2 decades, he wept in front of his father. It was not loud. It was not dramatic. But it was real. When he finally looked up again, his father just nodded once, not in approval, in understanding. The next morning, Cole woke early. He did not call his assistant. He did not make a plan. He just put on his coat, grabbed a sketchbook she had left behind, and stepped outside into the cold. He was not going to search for her like she was a missing file. He was going to walk the streets she walked, to learn the places that made her feel safe, to wait for her light to lead him again, not to take her back, but to show her, when she was ready, that he had learned how to stay. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon when Cole found her. He had not been looking, not actively. He had simply been driving with no destination, letting the city unfold itself in front of him. The traffic lights, the distant laughter of children, the winter sun casting long, golden shadows across the sidewalks. It all moved like a gentle hum in the background. Then, something caught his eye. A cluster of children had gathered along a brick wall near the East Side Community Arts Center. They were pointing, laughing, admiring something together. Curious, Cole pulled over and stepped out of the car. What he saw froze him in place. The wall was covered in color. A sweeping mural painted in soft, whimsical strokes, a snowy landscape, children chasing stars, animals wearing scarves, a little girl holding a paintbrush bigger than herself. It was magical, exactly the kind of scene he imagined in storybooks. Joyful, hopeful, alive. Near the bottom corner of the mural, in small handwritten letters, was a quiet signature. Illustrated by L.M. His chest tightened. Lila Monroe. Without thinking, Cole walked into the building. He wandered through hallways filled with artwork, some scribbled in crayon, some carefully framed. Music drifted from an open room nearby. And there she was, sitting cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by children, a smear of blue paint on her cheek. Her golden hair was tied in a loose knot, and her laughter, soft, melodic, carried through the air like something out of a memory. She looked up. Their eyes met. Her smile faltered, just for a second, but she did not run, she did not turn away. Cole took a slow step forward. He did not rush, did not reach. "I'm not here to take you back," he said gently. I just wanted to see what you'd build, without me interfering, and it's beautiful." Lila stared at him. The room seemed to quiet around them, even the children sensing something unspoken. And then, softly, quietly, she smiled. The first real smile he had seen on her face in what felt like a lifetime. Later, they sat side by side on the wooden steps of the center's porch, warm mugs of cocoa in hand. The sun had begun to set, brushing the sky with strokes of orange and pink. Snow glittered on the rooftops like sugar. She told him what had happened after she left. How she had gone back to the library she once loved, sneaking in during open hours, sketching in the corner with scraps of paper and borrowed pencils. "I stayed there for a while," she said, eyes on the steam rising from her cup. It felt like being back in a story again. Quiet, safe. Cole nodded. He did not interrupt. "I met the director here by accident," she continued. "She saw my drawings, asked if I'd help with an art class. I was terrified, but I said yes, and then I stayed." Her voice dropped, vulnerable but strong. "I'm not where I thought I'd be, but I'm somewhere." Cole turned to her. "I'm not here to fix anything, Lila," he said. "You do not need me for that. But if you'll let me, I'd like to be around when you paint the next chapter." She looked at him then, really looked. There was no pity in his eyes. No guilt, no push, just presence. The same presence she had once asked for in the cold, in the dark, outside a crumbling church. "Okay," she whispered, a flicker of emotion crossing her face. Her fingers brushed his, and this time, she did not let go. A year later, the penthouse was no longer cold. The once sterile, monochrome space now shimmered with warmth, light spilling from string lights draped across the windows, colorful throw pillows scattered on the couch, and shelves filled with children's books and sketch pads. The air smelled faintly of cinnamon and something baking in the oven. In the corner stood a modest Christmas tree. It was not the towering, expensive kind Cole used to order out of obligation. This one was small, charmingly lopsided, covered in handmade decorations, paper stars, painted pine cones, and popsicle stick reindeer with googly eyes. On top sat a star, cut from cardboard and colored with markers. In neat handwriting across it, "Home is not a place, it's a feeling." Laughter echoed from the kitchen. Cole was carefully frosting sugar cookies shaped like mittens, his concentration unusually intense. Lila stood beside him, helping a little boy glue sequins onto an ornament. She wore the same cream-knit dress from last winter, the one that once symbolized fragility, but now she wore it with ease, like it belonged to her, like this place did. Their Christmas party was a small one, just the kids from the art center and a few volunteers, but the room pulsed with joy. Music played softly. Someone had spilled cocoa on the floor. A girl proudly showed off her crooked snowflake cookie to Cole, who gave her a mock-serious nod of approval. In the corner, Irene sat in a cozy armchair, sipping tea and smiling warmly. Cole's father, now frailer but gentler, had brought with him an old family recipe, his late wife's cranberry orange bread. He passed it around with quiet pride. When the last child had gone home, their laughter lingering like a warm aftertaste, Cole stepped out onto the balcony. The city lights blinked below, the snow falling in soft, slow flakes, familiar. Behind him, Lila tidied the last paper scraps, humming a holiday tune. When she looked up, he was already watching her from the doorway. She joined him outside, the winter breeze wrapping around them. He reached into his coat pocket and took out a small velvet box. No grand speech, no fireworks. Just a silver ring, simple and elegant, with a tiny star etched into its band. "I do not want to rescue you, Lila," he said, voice low but steady. "I just want to stay for every night from now on." Her eyes welled, but she smiled through the shimmer. "Then I guess I better keep the hot cocoa warm," she whispered. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and she leaned into him. The snow swirled around them gently, like a blessing. Later that night, Lila walked back inside, pausing in front of the window. The same one where, a year ago, she had drawn stars in the condensation with her fingertip, wondering if she'd ever belong somewhere again. She pressed her hand to the glass, then whispered, as if to the snowflakes themselves, "I asked for one night, and I found forever." If this story touched your heart, we invite you to be part of something beautiful. Subscribe to Soul-Stirring Stories and hit that hype button to support more heartfelt tales like Can You Stay for Just One Night? Every click helps us continue bringing you emotional, inspiring stories about second chances, unexpected kindness, and the kind of love that changes everything. Thank you for staying till the end. Until next time, believe in warmth, believe in people, believe in the power of one night. Soul-Stirring Stories, stories that touch your soul.